for Blast Off. I'm TTU Phoenix, here to cast some more casual esports amateur league matches with my co-caster Ryder. Our first match today will be Roll Swapped versus Ravenous Kumquats. This is a Shuriman division match from week 4. So this is being played on the previous patch 10.2. So looking at the rosters, for Roll Swapped we have Revo Demise in top, ZZ in jungle, Macnoon Sun mid, Brewer in ADC, and Multitasker 1 in support. And then for Ravenous Kumquat, we have CCK Roscoe in top, Shrooms or Wards in jungle, Meg Average in mid, Istariel in ADC, and Tarkada in support.
Should be pretty interesting this game. I've watched both these TU teams in action, and it's they're very well executed teams. They know what their game plan is, they know how to do it, and they pick a comp and they perform with the tools that they got.
Yeah, I have a bit of a personal investment in both these teams. So I actually cast Ravenous Kumquats are the Shuriman Division champions from last season, and I was able to cast their finals. So I've seen them play before, and I actually played with some members of Roll Swap last season. Some of them were in Ionia Division, and they needed a sub, so I filled in for them. So I know some, and I'm really excited to see them match up head-to-head. Both teams are in the middle of the standings in Shurima. Shurima's a very interesting division right now because all of the teams are very close with 1 or 2 exceptions that have kind of pulled ahead. And as we start to look towards playoffs, we are doing 16 playoffs. So with 8 teams, 2 of the teams will not make playoffs. And so all of those teams in the middle are jockeying for position because it'd be very easy for any team to knock any other out of playoff contention and to change their seeding because the 3rd and 6th seeds will play each other in the quarterfinals and the 4th and 5th seeds will play each other. So even just raising your standing from 6th to 5th seed could change your whole playoff experience and give you a very different shot at the title. So we're going to see a lot of really close matches where even, the difference between a 2-0 and a 1-1 could be a huge difference and have ramifications for everyone.
Very interesting. Should be a high action game indeed then. Without further ado, let's just jump into our pick ban from Pro Draft.
Yep, so Pro Draft is back, ladies and gentlemen. It is once again functional. So Roll Swapped have Set in the top lane, Sejuani, jungle, Jhin ADC, Rumble mid, and Leona support. Ravenous Kumquats, I did check in game that is a Mordekaiser jungle, and a Renekton top, Silas, Misfortune, Rakan, all in standard positions. Looking at the draft, to me, Ravenous Kumquats draft screams comfort. Silas and Misfortune for Meg Average and Astariel, they played those champions to great effect in the finals last season. Misfortune was picked in 4 games, and in 3 of the 4 games, and I think won all 3 of them, and twice was on Astariel. So that's very much a champion he knows. Silas for Meg Average, very comfortable. And I know CCK Roscoe, Renekton's a comfort pick for him as well. So I'm not sure about Tarkada and Shrooms or Wards, but Ravenous Kumquat have certainly gotten champions they're familiar with. But I will say I really like Roll Swap's team composition. As Sejuani, you always want melees on your team, and you have Leona, whose combo provides a lot of auto attacks and a lot of CC, Set a lot of fast auto attacks, and even Rumble does some auto attacking. So it will be very easy for Sejuani to get past the stacks and get her combo off, or get her stun off. And the CC chain and just sort of overlapping wombo combo from Roll Swapped is huge. The Glacial Prison, the Solar Flare, the Equalizer, even a Jhin Curtain Call or a Set Showstopper if Renekton or Mord step up, could just layer the damage in CC onto Ravenous Kumquats really easily. Whereas Ravenous Kumquats, I feel like, are a little more pick-oriented, and one issue I'm seeing is they have Misfortune. Like, Bullet Time is a huge team-winning ultimate, but they don't really have great setups. Silas, Renekton, very single target. Mordekaiser is often 1v1ing people in the Death Realm, so their only really good CC for the Misfortunal is like a Rakan ultimate. So I think it might be a little hard for them to really set up the good bullet times that hit, 3-4 people and just win those team fights.
I couldn't agree more. These 2 teams are going to be pretty interesting. I do like Roll Swapped and their potential of just overall team fight, just fear here, but we do have a lot of great early game pressure coming out from the side of Ravenous Kumquats.
Yeah, absolutely. Renekton is a classic lane bully. In my experience, he is favored versus set, but let's see how these play out. We'll start getting in. So, production, if you'll set us up. So, looking at runes and masteries, we see 3 conquerors from the top to middle of Ravenous Kumquats, which is pretty standard. I think the Arcane Comet is pretty common on Rumble, particularly when he wants to focus more on poking, as opposed to all-ins with Electrocute or roaming with Predator. Fleet Footwork and Aftershock in the bot lane for roll swap to standard. The only thing that I think is a bit of a standout is the press the attack for Misfortune, which basically confirms that it is going to be the crit-focused Misfortune, which is basically the standard build now, I believe, as opposed to sort of the lethality 80 caster build. But Historia will be going for a little more of the auto attack based damage dealing as opposed to just relying on the bullet time.
And you're gonna see a typical just a 5-point from both teams, respecting no level 1 extravaganza on either side there. Seeing where our jungles are gonna be pathing, it looks like they're both gonna be starting possibly on the bot side and then pathing top.
Yeah, Sejuani's early clear is not super mana intensive. I generally lean towards blue side for her because since she does magic damage, she'll do more damage to those camps. But you do get a better leash from bot side. Mord is going leashless into red buff, but Mord has pretty good jungle clear since the buffs had increased his passive damage, and since he doesn't run out of mana, he probably doesn't need a gank a leash very much. So roll swap won't know where Mordekaiser has started, which is going to be good because as a champion whose ganks are going to be a little awkward, having an element of unpredictability will give him better odds of coming in when the opposing team does not expect him to be there.
Yeah, I haven't seen too much Mordekaiser jungle. I've played it once or twice myself there, and with the recent buffs to just getting his passive from hitting epic monsters, it does make the clear a little bit easier there. How do you think it's going to affect their lanes and where he's going to go first?
It looks like
yeah, we got a little bit of an engage, level 2 engage from Leona, going down with the EQ combo onto Misfortune, applying a lot of great damage and using the ignite. But that'll be the end of that there. They didn't get the lockdown enough to quite kill her off there. You can see with the Rakan, just with the Q, he was able to heal Misfortune up and able to really strike back. We do see a fight happening mid lane as well. Rumble with a great flamethrower onto the Sylas. Sylas actually getting ignited down as well, I believe. And almost falling short and flashing, having to flash away, getting away from the Rumble here.
Yeah, and Macroonson is already pinging out the Sylas flash. Sejuani, her early clear is a little weak, but Megaverage may have overextended.
He's coming back, but he's in danger there. He has to leave. I don't think he can stay for this lane XP anymore. But we do see a great exchange here top side. You see the set is going to be slowly pushing back to Renekton. This lane matchup's going to be pretty interesting. They both have great sustain with the Renekton Q and the Sylas passive there. So I feel like that's just going to be a lot of back and forth, kind of going back and seeing which jungler ganks the top laner first.
In my experience, Juggernaut on Juggernaut matchups are very first kill oriented. Whoever gets the early lead just takes over, because Juggernauts, as much as I love them, are often not champions with massive outplay potential. A lot of their play pattern consists of get in melee range of the enemy and then deal damage. And so,
we do see a nice W into a good E, and then he slice and dice in and back out there. I think he had Q down right before all of this. We do see another great engage bot side. They do get the E, Q, W off from Leona, going on to the attack with Jhin onto Misfortune. But here goes Mordekaiser actually. Gonna be falling down to the Sejuani gank. She flashes over the wall and gets a nice I believe that's her W, to just take down Mordekaiser jungle there.
Winter's Wrath
Winter's
is
Wrath,
the
yeah.
swing and the slam. She's looking to go for his blue buff, but it's already down.
And we do see another great engage. The engages bot side are powerful, and they're slowly chipping them down, but they haven't quite secured the Misfortune or the Rakan here.
Notably, Istariel did not take Biscuits. He took Sorcery Secondary for Celerity and Nimbus Cloak. So when they force him to burn his potion in that early trade, the only sustain he's got is Tarkata's healing. And he doesn't have any mana sustain. So let me check. Brewer did take Biscuits and Fleet Footwork. They really just have the sustain advantage on the side of Roll Swap, and they can sort of they can afford to play the long game. The early kill, I think, is really huge for Sejuani. She's not a champion who duels very well early. She has kind of one big burst of damage with her passive, and then she's kind of done. And so I would have expected her to be vulnerable to being all in or invaded by the Mord.
You see the level 6 coming out from Rumble here. What a good engage. They're exchanging back and forth, but that Rumble actually getting the level 6 early because he hasn't backed yet. Oh no, he did back. And I think from that, he just flamethrowered him down, got the good chip damage in, good amount of the harpoons from him as well. And then just when he hit level 6, he knew, oh, I win these trades, and just shut down the Sylas.
Yeah, knowing that Mega Average was not yet 6, he just looks at it, he's like, look, I can fight this. I'm winning the trades. Sylas is a lane bully, but so is Rumble, especially into other melee champions. And so he's like, I've got the advantage because I hit 6 first, and I want to use it now before Sylas gets 6 himself. And he gets a kill out of it, particularly because his Ignite had come back up. But McAverage's Flash was not yet back up, since the cooldown on Ignite is, I think it's half of Flash. Not quite. It's 180 to 300.
Again, you see the nice trades coming in mid lane there, but Rumble actually has the 2 level advantage on to Sylas now, so that's going to be big, especially if they're going to be trying to contest for the first early dragon.
Yeah. Mord is 6, which actually makes contesting dragon very hard. One of the things about Mord is that there's no dragon in the Death Realm. So, particularly as top lane Mord, if your team is 50-50ing an objective, you can just ult the jungler, and your jungler can try to smite it uncontested. Now, obviously, Shrooms wards won't be able to do that, because if he ults, then neither jungler's there. But they probably don't want to risk Sejuani trying to do it and getting too low, because at this point she will get fairly low from doing Dragon, and she doesn't want to just have Mord roll up and send her to the Shadow Realm.
You do see a Rumble on Rumble there, but the quick exchange coming out on top for the Rumble on the side of Team Roll Swap there. Coming in large top side, he is going to be a big threat. He already has a large potential in huge team fights, changing the course of an entire team fight with just a single ultimate. With him getting ahead here, how do you think the game's going to be playing out?
Well, he's going to be running into a Mord here, which may be a little unfortunate.
We're going into the Death Realm, and here comes Jhin. He does, as soon as he pops out, immediately heals up the Rumble into an immediate re-engage onto Mordekaiser, shutting him down and getting killed here to Jhin.
So notably, Macmoon Sun didn't take Nimbus Cloak. He took Nullifying Orb, which is actually huge there. It blocks, let me see, 78 damage from the Mord, which is pretty close to how much health he had, which allows the heal from Gruer on an excellent rotation to save his life. I think that mid lane fight was Macmoon Sun really showing how comfortable he is in the champion, because he bought the Haunting guys early, and you notice he didn't just throw the Equalizer early, he waited until he'd already done a full rotation of cooldowns, so if the Haunting guys was fully stacked up, and he had 10% increased damage, because it takes 5 seconds to really stack up. But that meant that his Equalizer did massive damage to Meg Average, even though he was only in the path of it for a brief time.
Now you do see another engage from Rakan going in with his E, trying to get as much damage onto Jhin, but Leona immediately cracking back onto the Misfortune, doing massive damage to her. Is Jhin going to be able to pick her off? You do get a nice Leona combo onto Misfortune, and she doesn't quite fall. Another E going in on the side of, whoa now. Great Rumble ulti, good rotation there. He comes down, he hits the flamethrower, he hits the ultimate, and then actually secures the kill onto Rakan there.
Yeah, and that's one of the powers of the Rumble and why it's so deceptively deadly, is that it's not just the damage you take while standing in it. The burn continues to apply for a second or two after you get out of it. So even if you're not in it for very long, you will take a lot of damage during that time. I do like this play from Ravenous Kumquats. Instead of trying to contest the dragon, which would likely have been a no-win option because of the 4 people bot side, Shroom's Rewards instead takes Rift Herald. He trades objective for the other side of the map, and he immediately drops it mid lane and gets 2 plates. So that gets 160 gold back into his pocket and Mega Average's pocket, which is really important because they are already behind their respective opponents in the Sejuani and the Rumble. And so getting a little bit of gold to try to even that up is going to be really key. Meg Average is still about 1,500 gold behind. Most of the gold lead is in mid lane, but there is about a 300 gold lead on the side of Sejuani versus Mord.
Very interesting here. We do get a nice E from the Rakan there, going on to Leona. And just quick skirmishes all around the map, trying to get those vision control, trying to just get prepared for the next objective here. Give me a quick rundown on itemization on both teams.
Both top laners are going for the Blade of the Ruined King build, and both have also elected to get an Executioner's Calling. So the good news is that they'll kill each other real well. But the bad news is, and I've played Bork set, I don't play a lot of Renekton, but the early Blade of the Ruined King, particularly if you're not going to go Bramble Vest for anti-heal, but are going Vamp Scepter, is you are not tanky. They're essentially running off base stats at this point, which means that neither will be able to really frontline in a team fight. I'd say Renekton is slightly better off because his ultimate gives him flat health while it's active, but they're kind of committed to sitting in a side lane for a while, as opposed to team fighting. Sejuani is probably very close to finishing her Cinder Hulk. Yes, she will be able to finish it when she backs, which she should do so soon. It is an important spike for tank junglers. Mord has his Runic Echoes. Rumble, we already have the Storm Razor on Jhin, so he is the first BF sword advantage.
Oh, flash engage from Leona, going into a nice Sejuani ultimate and a Leona ultimate, taking out Misfortune. Rakan's just gonna get a double knock-up ultimate and walking away. But a good engage on the side of Roll Swap there, just to really pick off that Misfortune. And I believe the Silas is coming down. He's gonna do another Leona ultimate on Leona herself. Down goes Leona. Rakan's picking up the kill. There are a TP coming from the Renekton here. He is going to be ulting with the set. You're going to be trying to fight him down, but it's not going to be enough as they do just take out the Renekton. Now they're going to be going on to the Mordekaiser there. Mordekaiser actually having to flash to get away. Jhin ultimate going down. Not sure if he's going to be able to pick anyone off here, but they are probably going to be able to force down a lot of turret plates.
So we see essentially a team fight in bot lane. Oh, Misfortune.
Oh, we got another re-engage with the Misfortune into the Silas, trying to take out the set. The set does fall. Rakan slowly falling after as well, with the Jhin just auto-attacking him down, pressing his Q, and doing big damage as well. Good re-engage, good read on both sides here. Just trying to get as much as an even trade as they could.
Yeah, good pick on the Leona by the Silas, taking the Leona ult. And you see there the issue with the top laners, both teleport in, but even through the Renekton ult, Roscoe just gets bursted down and then gets yeeted back into his team by Reba Demise. He actually dies mid-air to Gruer, but one of the interesting things about Set ult is its damage application is very unusual. It doesn't do damage when you grab the person. It deals damage when you slam them into the ground, regardless of whether or not they actually go with you. So if you grab someone who's unstoppable, like an Olaf, or someone who dies partway through, like the Renekton, you still complete the ult and you still deal damage at the arrival point as if you'd carried them there. So he does get a big chunk on the back line, but then you see Revo eats the Misfortune ult on the re-engage, and Haymaker buys him a lot of time, but he still goes down. And so these are both really squishy for top laners at this point. In fact, the only real front line we have right now is the Leona and the Sejuani. Tarkana is building Knight's Vow to build what one of my teammates calls Spank Tank Rakan, where he's more of a frontliner and less of these Enchanter build you sometimes see, which I think will be good because Mord is...
Into the Death Realm you go here, Rumble. They're going to disengage because that is massive damage onto the Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser actually losing to Rumble in the Shadow Realm. Here comes the Crocodilian trying to get as much damage to the team. Misfortune with a massive ulti as well. Their Jin's going to be trying to pick off the Renekton, and actually does in doing so. They do not have a jungler for this dragon, and Sejuani is thirsty for this ocean.
Yeah, that was definitely a I'm not locked in here with you, you're locked in here with me moment. Mordekaiser's ult is really good when you're ulting someone that you know can't kill you, but ulting someone who's really fed is not that, and it's very much the case Rumble's just like, oh, I can just kill Mord. And with Mord down, they're going to be easily able to pick up the second dragon. We are going to see an Infernal Rift, which given the amount of damage and AoE that Rollswap has, would be really like crisis mode for Ravenous Kumquats if they do pick that up. I think that Ravenous Kumquats need to try to make sure that they're in a position to fight for this third drag to try to deny them soul points.
Yeah, we do see Infernal Dragon coming up here. What do you think are the pros and cons on either giving up the soul point to try and just get major objectives, or just trying to really trying to get back and get those 4 Infernals on the side of Ravenous Kumquats?
Well, Rollswaps are going for the Rift Hero here, which I think would be one of the objectives that you consider trading, but they will not have that option now. Unless you're going to get something like Baron, where it is reasonably expected to be a lot of money for you, I don't think that trading for the third drag would be worth it at this point, because you're already behind by about 3,500 gold. And notably, the characters who are behind, Sylas, Mordekaiser, Renekton, are characters that really depend on being ahead. Juggernauts and Divers really benefit from having a level advantage. They want more base damages, they want higher base defenses. They really struggle when they're under level and they're behind on itemization. Like, Mega Average has not yet completed his first item. Mackin's Sun is like 300 gold off of the second. And Gruer has 2 BF swords, probably going for, I guess, the Infinity Edge here.
We're getting a Rakan engaged on here from the Leona, immediately coming down, chunked down from the Rumble, doing great damage, and an equalizer going down onto the Misfortune. Doing a nice chunk as well. If they could catch her, that'd be another pick for the side of Team Rollswaps.
Yeah, Mackin's Sun was looking for the engage there. The issue is he'd overheated, so even though he had an Electro Harpoon ready, he couldn't launch it to try to slow Misfortune or run her down.
You do see an engage going down onto Sylas, into the ultimate from Sejuani, into the ultimate from Leona, and Jin picks up the kill.
And that's just unfortunate. Mega Average is trying to collect some farm. He's trying to get some itemization so that he can maybe, deal some damage, but they pick him off on the side lane. They're going to use the Rift Hero here probably to get this tower. And unless Roscoe teleports, given that Rumble is trying to cut off this rotation, they might be able to get a second turret here, or at least get a second charge. They are lacking some of their big teamfight tools. Equalizer, Solar Flare, and Glacial Prison are all on cooldown.
Oh, nice eat from Mordekaiser. Here goes an engage onto Rakan, but they're going to be doing nice chip damage, almost making him fall. Misfortune ultimate going out. We do see the Sejuani and the Mordekaiser in the Death Realm here. They're doing some nice chip damage. They do get the lockdown again onto the Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser flashing away. Misfortune going right back in. Here comes the Rumble. He's doing some big damage to the Misfortune. Massive equalizer coming out, taking out the Misfortune, and they're not done. They're going to be pushing more.
Yeah, Roscoe, both top laners have now finished their Borks, but this is one of those games, and I've had them in solo queue, where as a top laner, I'm like, look, this game is not being decided by top lane. This game is being decided elsewhere, and sometimes that happens. Real Demise is going to pick up a tower here. he has now built about an 800 gold lead, so he'll probably be able to finish his boots here, maybe start on his Black Cleaver. But it's looking a bit dire for Ravenous Kumquats here. I think their best hope is Istariel is relatively less far behind in terms of itemization. He is fairly behind in terms of gold because Brewer has 5 kills, but he's got the Essence Reaver. He's working on what I would assume would be Rapid Fire Cannon because he's got the second dagger. But we've seen the Misfortunals do a lot of damage, and given that Brewer's sums are both down, he did have to flash heal after being hit by the Mordekaiser Death's Grasp. Oh no, Rumble.
We do see a Rumble finds a Crocodilian in the bush. They're going to have a nice engage here, but I think they're going to have to fall short here. But the Rakan going in for another re-engage. Massive Sejuani ulti into the Jhin W, taking up the Renekton. Misfortune ulti going down, taking out the Mordekaiser from Jhin here. We're going to see another re-engage applying. The set has joined the fight. The Renekton and the Rakan are both in danger. Double kill going for. Wow. Double kill going. Triple kill going to Jhin there. Picking up a huge win on the side of Roll Swapped, and they're going to be looking for Baron.
Yeah, it looks like a decent pick at first because Rumble basically walks into a bush that Roscoe is sitting in. But Roscoe isn't very tanky, so we can't absorb the damage from this Leandry's Morellonomicon Rumble. And he's forced to flash out. They do end up claiming the Rumble shutdown there, which is good for Ravenous Kumquats. But the Rumble ult does massive amount of damage, and it zones Astariel out. Rumble ult as a zoning tool is super powerful because your carries cannot afford to stand on it. So a Rumble who's very talented, like Magnu's Son or Tuba on Hanging with Friends, they know how to position the ult to force carries out of the fight, force them to reposition. So Astariel, instead of channeling bullet time and getting a lot of damage, is forced to walk back and then start channeling. And now that they know where he is, Multitasker hits him with the Solar Flare and runs him down with the Ignite.
Yeah, very interesting. And you see 2 major objectives being picked up here. Not only just the Baron, they also do get the Infernal uncontested as well. With this huge reset, it looks like they're going to be potentially looking for another team fight into an inhibitor.
Yeah, I think Rollsoft are looking to march down. They did lose in their last match, so this must be a sort of a good reset of, yeah, we can win in a commanding fashion. They should just be looking to pick a lane. I don't think doing a 4-1.
We do see another great engage from Sejuani. Equalizer going out as well, picking up the Rakan here. Good pick for the side of Team Roll Swap. They're going to be looking to regroup and do a 4-1 set on top, and all other 4 members going down mid, trying to pick up as many turrets as well.
I'd rather see Set group here just because I don't think he's strong enough to really split push. He's 0-1. He does have the lead, but I think that one person like Rumble, like Renekton, could keep him off the tower relatively effectively. I actually think that Ravenous Kumquats should look to engage right now.
Oh, here they go, and that's exactly what they're going to try and do. We do see the flank coming in from the Renekton with a massive MF ulti, but they're going to do another great engage, taking out the Renekton, and here comes Rakan getting a double knockup, but it's not going to be enough for his team. The Sylas is going to take out the Rumble, but may fall shortly after. Here comes Jhin. Massive damage, double kill coming out for Jhin here. He is huge. He's going in, and they're going to be probably picking up an inhibitor as well.
So that was actually really well played from Ravenous Kumquats. They recognized that all 3 of the big teamfight ultimates.
Wait a second, we got a flash E and the Sejuani going on to the Rakan. They do pick him up as well. They are going to be doing massive damage to Misfortune. Here comes the Jhin ultimate, taking out Misfortune. It is just going to be the Renekton and the Mordekaiser trying to stop them from taking the game. It's trying to stop them from holding off here. Is it going to be enough? We do see the Renekton engaging as well. He is getting chipped off. He does get the stun from Sejuani. They're going to take down the second turret here. They're going to have a re-engage onto Sylas with the Leona. Massive ulti coming down. There goes Sylas. They're going to be looking at the Nexus and potentially ending the game here. Yes, they are. They ended the game. GG. Roll Swap.
24-minute win from Roll Swap. It was a good defense from Ravenous Kumquats, and I really want to to praise them for that, because I think that kind of really good communication and shot calling. Tarkana gets picked off, but in probably a bit of over-eagerness, roll swapped.
Yeah, massive team fight there. And you just see from the side of roll swapped, really just doubling down on objectives, taking those picks, really just they had what they needed to, they did what they needed to do just to kind of go step one, okay, we're gonna lane phase, go even. Step two, find picks, got their picks. Step three, get objectives, we got objectives. Step four, team fight, we're going in, we're going to keep fighting, we're gonna get two other major objectives, and then finally step five, ending the game, really getting that massive team fight. They were huge. All team members were massive there. And Phoenix, I want a quick takeaway here from both sides here. Who do you think MVP and Ace are?
So let me think. I think MVP. See, that's tough because I'm torn between. Gruer had a pop-off game. He was 10-0. He was doing the AD carry thing. Macnoon Sun dominated lane. Multitasker also had really good Leona ult, really good CC combos. I think I'm gonna have to go with Macnoon Sun, just because of how well he won lane and then had really good equalizers in team fights. For Ace, I'm gonna have to go with Astariel here. I think that given that the team comp was not well set up to use the Misfortune ult, and that Misfortune is a champion who is very vulnerable to being dove on, and didn't have a huge peel team comp set up to protect her, I think that he did a really good job of still putting out a lot of damage and not dying a bunch of times, which would have been really easy to do there as Misfortune. So I think that changing up the drafts, banning some of these CC combo champs for Ravenous Kumquats, and maybe building a comp around Astariel a little more, maybe a peel support, or something a little tankier in the jungle would be a good pick here. But I think we're going to take a short break and get set up for round two.
Yes. Hello and welcome back, folks. We did see an incredible performance from our two teams of Roll Swapped versus Ravenous Kumquats, and we're going into round 2 between these two teams. Phoenix here, what were your takeaways from the first game, and what do you want to see really for the second game coming up?
My takeaways was that Roll Swapped had a really good team fighting comp that probably needs to be banned out, and that Ravenous Kumquats probably should build their comps a little more around Astariel, who had a pretty good game despite the depth that his team was at. And I think, as was shown in the finals last year, really has carry potential.
Very well said. Without further ado, let's quickly jump into pick bans. And Phoenix, what do you think about these two team comps here?
So step one, I like the Leona Rumble bans. I'm not sure what the middle ban was, given that we are casting a little bit behind. It may be a little difficult to find out, but the Sejuani did get through, but they took out two of the big enablers for Ravenous Kumquats. The Rumble on Macnoon Sun was just a dominant lane performance, huge damage in team fights, really took over the game. They're like, nope, get that out of here. Leona, constant engages bot lane, really put a lot of pressure on Astariel and Tarkada. They're like, nope, get that out of there. They do pick the Sylas first as a comfort pick for Mega Average, but I do like the Nami Kog'Maw follow-up. Kog'Maw is one of the carry ADCs, and Nami as an enchanter is very well set up to enable him. Kog'Maw gets huge benefit from Ardent Sensor, he benefits from Peel, and Nami has pretty good Peel. That is a Poppy jungle, which I like as well. Poppy is a bit of an indifferent jungler. Her clear is excellent, but her ganks are kind of subpar. But she is an excellent Peel tank. And so her ability to protect the Kog'Maw is going to be really good. And I think that they could really assemble a good team comp with the Renekton on Roscoe, again, and Sylas looking to dive, while Poppy and Nami are just like, look, we stand in front of the Cog and we protect the Cog. On Roll Swap side, that is a mid lane Riven for Macnoon Sun and Kennen top lane. So they don't have quite the Sejuani synergy they did last game where they had 4 melees. Rakan, even though he kind of auto-attacks like one, is not a melee champion. He is technically a range champion, and so he doesn't stack Sejuani's E passive. However, Rakan and Kennen both do have lots of CC of their own, so they can still set up for big team fights with the Kennen slicing Maelstrom and Riven going in to do her combo. I think that they do have a lot of that wombo combo potential, even if it's a little more in your face. And Xayah, I think, is a good pick for an ADC when you have a very aggressive diving team comp because she self-peels very effectively with her ultimate. And I know that's a champion that Brewer is pretty comfortable on. So I think that Roll Swaps have gone with a very similar kind of team fight CC overlapping style, but I think that Ravenous Kumquats comp is a little better suited to deal with it this time.
Very interesting. Should be a great game on both sides. And without further ado, let's jump right on into it. Hasagi!
So I'm looking at the Ruse and Mastery. So this is interesting to me. Bot lane looks pretty standard. 2 lethal tempos, Airy and Guardian, Conquer on the Riven, Aftershock on the Sejuani, but the rest of it's interesting to me. I think Press the Attack on Roscoe is a good pick. Press the Attack on a melee champion that uses it well is better than Conqueror against ranged opponents if you can't take long trades. Against something like Kennen that's going to kite you out, you need to sort of get burst damage in and then get out, which Press the Attack is better at than Conqueror, where Conqueror excels more in sort of extended trades. And given that Roscoe on the Renekton can stack Press the Attack instantly with an empowered W, Renekton is an excellent user of Press the Attack. The Conqueror, I think, on the Kennen is interesting. Usually AP Kennen will go like Electrocute or even Airy just to sort of poke and harass in lane, but he did take the Conqueror. And Meg Average took the Electrocute on Sylas, which I think makes sense here because he's looking for burst hits. It looks like Meg Average is going to be going top, and they're going to be having Roscoe go mid. to get a more comfortable matchup for the Renekton against the Riven, which I think is probably a good idea here. It's the Hail of Blades Poppy I'm wondering about, though. Is this going to be a damage Poppy? Is this going to be a just tank Poppy with Hail of Blades for damage? If you're going to go with damage Keystone on Poppy, I feel like Conqueror is probably the better choice. She actually stacks it pretty well and has decent AD ratios, so I'm not sure how well this is going to work out, but I'm interested to see how it plays.
Should be a very interesting thing to watch here, and I'm my eyes are gonna be on Poppy a lot and seeing where they're gonna be pathing and potentially seeing where the first gank might occur. I feel like the Halo Blades Poppy should have a really stronger just early like engage for her ganks, and I'm interested to see what she's gonna use with the tools that she has.
Yeah, she should also have the potential to invade the Sejuani. Poppy is very good at fights in the jungle because of the presence of walls, making it very easy for her to get stuns. Hail of Blades is very much a powerful early game keystone. So I'd actually, given that Sejuani is doing the Raptors now, I'd like to see Poppy finish her blue and immediately path to Sejuani's red. Sejuani is lower on health. Sejuani's first clear is fast, but it's not very healthy. And if Poppy goes to the red buff here, looks like
we're seeing an engage mid lane there. Great skirmish, just massive damage on both sides. But we do see this Poppy, he is going to be roaming up to the... Oh, wow. Flash E from Poppy, knocking the Riven down to the wall, getting first blood, Poppy.
That was really well played by Shuriman's Rewards. One of the things about Poppy's W is that against dash-heavy champs like a Callista, Flash W isn't an engage, because not only does it stop their dash, not only does it slow them, it grounds them for 2 seconds. So Mackin Sun couldn't even flash out of that. And for a lot of players of champions like Riven or Callista, it's just habit to use their dashes to get around. And so he's unlikely to sort of have the presence of mind and fortitude just to walk out of it. So you flash W in, get the knock up, get the wall stun, Roscoe flashes in for the stun to confirm it, and they get a quick first blood.
You see that nice, just that when that Renekton starts getting a little bit ahead, you really see how well he can bully your lane opponent for even just trying to get up to get CS here. Mid lane should be an interesting fight.
Yeah, and because Roscoe